Welcome to this explainer. Imagine, for a second, trying to quench the thirst of over 1 billion people. It's a logistical and psychological nightmare, right? Well, today, we are decoding exactly how a global megabrand completely flipped its playbook to capture one of the most fiercely competitive, rapidly evolving markets on Earth, India. Now, this massive footprint, it absolutely didn't happen overnight. It actually traces all the way back to 1989. That's the year Pepsi first touched down in the Indian market. And since then, they haven't just been, selling drinks. They've been methodically building an absolute beverage empire. We're talking decades of incredibly sharp marketing, unforgettable celebrity endorsements, and a downright obsessive focus on distribution. But looking at the landscape today, it brings up a huge question. With fierce local startups and massive global rivals breathing down their neck, how exactly does this brand stay on top? I mean, how do you keep an entire subcontinent reaching for your product day in and day out, even as what people want to drink is rapidly changing? Okay, so here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll look at winning the Indian youth. Then we'll dive into the marketing mix masterclass, explore the digital battlefield, analyze their strengths, weaknesses, and threats, and finally, break down the formula for success. All right, let's jump right into part 1, winning the Indian youth. To really figure out who they're talking to, we've got to look at their STP analysis. That's segmentation, targeting, and positioning. It's basically the ultimate playbook for taking a massive, chaotic market, slicing it up, and totally owning one specific group. And this is crucial because you simply can't sell everything to everyone in a place as diverse as India. Pepsi slices up the market demographically, geographically, and behaviorally, hunting for that perfect sweet spot where thirsty consumers meet disposable income. And for Pepsi, that golden audience is the youth. They are laser-focused on the 15 to 35-year-old demographic. Why? Well, because these are your trendsetters. They're the frequent buyers, the ones making those impulse purchases. They specifically go after college students, diehard sports fanatics, and huge music crowds. Basically, if there's a high-energy spot where people are sweating, cheering, or just dancing their hearts out, Pepsi has engineered a strategy to make sure their drink is right there in your hand. And all of this targeting sets up their positioning perfectly. Because they aren't just selling a sweet, fizzy drink. No, they are selling a feeling. Look at the specific concepts they tie themselves to: fun, entertainment, celebration, youthful energy. When a young person grabs that bottle, Pepsi wants them to feel like they're holding a symbol of the ultimate modern lifestyle. They literally want to be synonymous with the absolute best moments of your life. Moving on to part 2, the marketing mix masterclass. So how does this actually play out in the real world? Let's start with the products pillar of the 4 Ps. They know one single cola doesn't fit everyone. To capture every taste, mood, or craving you might have, they've built this massive umbrella of brands. They offer the classic cola, sure, but also the zero-sugar Pepsi Black, the citrus punch of Mountain Dew and 7-Up, the orange Mirinda, the thick, fruity Slice, and even Gatorade for the athletes. There is quite literally a product for every single type of thirst out there. When it comes to price, their strategy is ruthlessly competitive. They know their target 15 to 35-year-olds, especially the college crowd, aren't exactly rolling in cash, right? So, by offering a ton of different sizes, from tiny, super cheap glass bottles that cost just a few rupees, all the way up to giant family packs for parties, they make sure they hit every single income bracket. Throw in some huge, flashy discounts during major Indian festivals, and you've got a value proposition that is just incredibly hard to pass up. Then there's place, or distribution. And honestly, this is where the real logistical magic happens. You'll find them stacked high in massive supermarkets, obviously. But crucially, they're squeezed into those tiny, vital neighborhood Kirana stores on almost every single street corner in the country. They lock down exclusive pouring rights in cafes and huge cinema halls. Plus, they've recently gone all in on 10-minute delivery apps. They've essentially engineered a reality where you physically cannot walk far in an Indian city without being an arm's reach from a gut tea. And finally, their promotion pillar. Now, in India, 2 things are basically religions: cricket and Bollywood. And Pepsi taps right into that pulse. They sponsor massive cricket tournaments to guarantee astronomical screen time, and they heavily use top-tier Bollywood and regional celebrities to build this instant emotional connection with millions. It is a high-visibility, high-volume machine that completely surrounds you, from your TV screen right to the stadium. Which brings us to part 3, the digital battlefield. Look, in today's hyper-connected world, a static print ad or a boring billboard just doesn't cut it with this demographic. Pepsi knows they have to engage. Their digital playbook leans hard into influencer collaborations across Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and X. But even smarter than that, they run these highly interactive contests to drive user-generated content. They actively incentivize buyers to post selfies with the product. They are basically turning millions of everyday consumers into a massive organic army of digital brand ambassadors. It's brilliant. And their whole approach is incredibly mobile-first. They know this youth demographic practically lives on their smartphones. So instead of just blanketing the internet with ads all year long, they time these massive, concentrated digital ad blitzes around huge, high-traffic moments, like the Indian Premier League cricket season or major national festivals. They are catching your attention exactly when you're already glued to your screen, getting the absolute maximum impact for every single marketing dollar.
All right, let's step back for part 4, strengths, weaknesses, and threats.
Because, hey, no empire is totally invincible, right? This SWOT matrix really maps out the reality of the battlefield today. Their strengths are obvious: massive global brand recognition and a distribution network that is second to none. But look closely at those weaknesses and threats. They have a huge historical reliance on sugary, carbonated drinks, right at a time when global health concerns are going through the roof. Add to that the constant, fierce rivalry with Coca-Cola, the rise of nimble local startups, and the looming threat of sugar regulations. To keep growing, their best bets are penetrating even deeper into rural areas and really aggressively pushing those zero-sugar options. And we are actually seeing this clash happen in real time, probably in your own local grocery store. It's the historical dominance of traditional sugary drinks colliding head-on with consumers pivoting hard toward healthier options, functional waters, and zero-sugar beverages. Pepsi has to walk a really tricky tightrope here. They have to innovate to keep the health-conscious shopper happy, while somehow keeping their core, indulgent, high-energy youth identity totally intact. It's a massive balancing act. Which leads us to our final section, part 5, the formula for success.
So what's the ultimate takeaway here? Pepsi's long-term dominance really boils down to a very specific, carefully engineered formula. It's the relentless youth-centric marketing, a distribution network that reaches from the biggest megacities to the smallest rural villages, and a constant drive for product innovation. You tie all that together with massive sports and entertainment partnerships, and you have a masterclass blueprint for how to thrive in one of the most competitive environments on the planet.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative question to chew on. As government regulations around sugar inevitably tighten and a whole new generation of consumers outright demands healthier options, how is this global giant going to pivot to keep its crown? Will their push into zero sugar be enough to satisfy a changing India? Or is that youthful energy they've relied on for decades going to shift toward a completely different type of brand altogether? Something to think about.